so now, since I forced my sister to talk about a number of my favorite movies, and there was a little bit of overlap. All right, Jess, this is a big one, and we're gonna forget Blue Velvet because Jessica has it in her top 5, and she did speak of it at length. So if you had to today, what are your other 4 favorite movies? Doesn't have to be in order, but if Blue Velvet is in a
Silence of the Lambs.
Okay, so Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
Okay, now I talked on this movie, and for myself, it's a movie, as with Goodfellas, as with Raging Bull, Dances with Wolves, I respect it. I know that it is a great film. Demi's direction, every shot is exactly like, but I don't like the movie. I don't enjoy it. I find it very, very disturbing, and not in the way that Blue Velvet. I can't watch Silence of the Lambs again. So sorry. What did you read the book first off?
No, I didn't read the book.
And I did not. And our dad read all of those books. He read Red Dragon and saw Manhunter on HBO in the 80s. Manhunter. And he read Silence. And I don't think he saw it in theaters, but he saw it on video, whatever. But he thought the movie was fantastic. Like, he didn't have any problem with it winning Oscars that year and stuff. So what is it? Why did that movie grab you? Or why is it on your list of favorites? Because there are people that would say it's a great movie, but it wouldn't be one of their top 5.
Why did it grab me?
Well, what does it do? Because obviously you've revisited it, I assume.
I will watch that movie. Like, if I had a TV and it was on, and I was, I would watch it. If this were on, we'd be watching it.
Yeah, that's right.
Like
that's
that.
Right.
So, the use of color and texture in the film really draws me in. The lighting, everything with Clarice. She's the star of the film, but like there are these moments when she and Ardelia are talking about the case. It's like they're looking right at you. I don't know how he did that.
Okay, I don't remember that.
And yeah, it's just really gross. There's a lot of really gross stuff. But honestly, if I'm being completely honest, it's Buffalo Bill dancing
to
Cute Lazarus.
Half naked. Yeah.
That song slaps, as the kids say. It slaps.
An extraordinary performance from Ted Levine by any metric. He's really incredible. When I discussed Silence of the Lambs, I mentioned how you feel like if they, instead of calling it Manhunter, if they had just called it Red Dragon, that movie would have done better, and then maybe they would have made it. Maybe Dino De Laurentiis would not have punted, but you wouldn't have had the movie that we ended up getting. And what I had said in that episode was that people who were familiar with the books, they said that Brian Cox's interpretation of Lecter was closer to how he was presented in the book. But what Hopkins did, the stillness, the way that his character was still, and that look in his eyes, it's extraordinary film acting by any metric. And what I was saying was, I don't know if he should have won Best Actor because his character is more of a supporting character. But then again, 5 years later, you had Jeffrey Rush, another brilliant actor, in what amounted to a supporting role in Shine, winning Best Actor. So if Jeffrey Rush can do it, so can Anthony Hopkins. So it's neither here nor there. Okay, so we got Blue Velvet, Silence of the Lambs.
Everyone at home is like, man, this chick is fucked up. That's fine.
Well, let me just point one thing out though. So when I talked about Taxi Driver, and Taxi Driver is a movie that, forget podcasts, that I could talk about and debate and argue with anybody. Because somebody appreciates a certain film, I do not in any way agree with the idea that, well, then there's something wrong with them. No. Don't accept that. I think that's a crock of shit.
Would there be a film if someone liked it and they were like, oh man, this is my favorite movie, that you'd be like, you're a fucking idiot?
Well, no. If somebody says Travis Bickle is a great guy, that's problematic. If somebody says, I want to be like Travis Bickle, if somebody says, I want to be like Hannibal Lecter, there was that New York cop. It was one of, I mean, it's really not funny. A guy who was trying to kill his girlfriend, and the headline in the New York Post, he didn't just want to kill her. He wanted to turn her into soup. So the New York Post, stop and bisque. Because he was.
You got to give it to the Post, man.
That was a great headline. Stop and bisque. Anyway, so people are going to think what they want to think, but unless you're advocating, and I'm not saying that Frank Booth from Blue Velvet is a good guy. He's somebody you would never want to meet in real life. But in the world of that movie, it's an extraordinary character. It is a character that is a left field character. Is this person even human? What the fuck? So, Silence of the Lambs, appreciating the movie, calling it a great film, enjoying the experience of watching it. I would never, ever judge somebody harshly. Well, there must be something wrong with them. No. A generation of people watch Barney the Dinosaur. Must be something wrong with them. So, you know, as Jim Carrey as Andy Kaufman. Yeah, Danny DeVito. That's what I say. If you're going to judge somebody because of a movie they like.
Man on the Moon might be in my...
Man on the Moon might be, it's certainly in my top 10, might be in my top 5. We're talking about, speaking of Jim Carrey as Andy Kaufman, and his back-to-back unbelievable movies and performances. Truman Show in 1998 and Man on the Moon in 1999.
Oh, Truman Show, though.
Well, Carrey was just knocking him out of the park there.
Yeah.
But you could say both of them. All right. So
not
what?
If it's a top 5, though. I gotta.
But Man on the Moon, top 5.
No.
Okay.
Put Truman Show in there.
Okay, so Truman Show, top 5. Now, you saw Truman Show in theaters.
I believe so. Yeah.
I saw it twice. I saw it the day that it opened, and then the next day went with our dad, just he and I. And he had been looking forward to it. He really liked it, but it hit the masterpiece button for me the first time I saw it. And this was a film that I had been reading about because the movie was wrapped at the end of 97. It could have come out, and it might have monkeyed with some of the Oscars. That was the year of Titanic and LA Confidential. But the studio decided that if we do a summer slot, we will be able to make more money, presumably. And it was a big hit and got great reviews, but I feel like that movie is still kind of underrated by history. It really predicted a lot of stuff about reality TV and consumer culture as far as very short news cycle. And without giving anything away, the end of the movie, the very end of the movie, Jim Carrey is not even in the scene. It kind of gives you the idea that short attention spans were only going to get shorter. And the movie is just ingenious. It was brilliant then. It looks even more prescient now because there are so many things that it correctly predicted. Some people wish that they were on camera 24/7. You could do that if you want.
It's like a living nightmare.
Yeah. Living in a fishbowl.
Ugh.
Okay, so Truman Show. So we got Blue Velvet, Silence of the Lambs, Truman Show.
Big Lebowski.
And okay, so that's a movie that I don't love. I adore the Coen brothers. They're incredibly talented. And I saw the one that they did, Ballad of Buster Scruggs for Netflix.
Yeah, I couldn't get into it.
See, and I thought that was incredible. Tim Blake Nelson in the first story called Ballad of Buster Scruggs. Amazing. He was a guy I never really liked. And then I saw him in that, I was like, holy shit. Okay, so that one didn't work for you. But Big Lebowski, oddly enough, I don't know that if either Siskel and Ebert gave it a thumbs up. It's not now considered a polarizing film. It is considered a standard 90s classic. And there are many people that would put it above Fargo. I don't love Fargo. I mean, if you ask me, what's my favorite Coen Brothers movie? Blood Simple, fantastic. Miller's Crossing. Wasn't that there?
Yeah.
Also fantastic. Irish Goodfellas, but brilliantly acted. You know, Gabriel Byrne and Albert Finney, among others. John Turturro and Marcia Gay Harden. Always a great actress, always great in every movie she's ever been in. But Big Lebowski, I like it. You know what I mean? I'm not against the movie, but it's, as with Fargo, to me it's 3 stars out of 4. I'd recommend it to anybody because for some people it is going to hit the masterpiece button.
Well, So you didn't ask me what I think the best movies are, right? You asked what my favorite movie.
Your favorite,
Yeah,
exactly.
So I don't think it's like an amazing movie, but I like it. And
Well, that's good enough.
I have like theories about it, about the dialogue and like the underlying meaning and stuff. Kind of like how they did with Barton Fink.
Sure.
How many references do they make to his head in the movie? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and if you don't know where it's going, then you're not gonna maybe hear them or catch on,
Right.
and then yeah. So, other movies?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, we're going quick, so you could give me a few more.
Right,
for sure.
right.
It's okay. No rush. You could talk in more detail. It's whatever you want to.
I have a really soft spot for Mannequin.
Okay, and that's an '80s. That's also a Gen X standard. Jess was very young when she first saw it. A young Kim Cattrall, way before Sex and the City, more than a decade before Sex and the City, and Andrew McCarthy, who was kind of the least well-known member of the Brat Pack, I guess you would say.
No. Oh. He was great.
Oh, he's awesome. He was in Less Than Zero. No, he's what was it?
I only read the book. I never saw the film.
You never saw Less Than Zero?
No.
Man,
I like the book.
Really good. I would argue it's Robert Downey Jr.'s finest performance to this day.
Really?
Yes, his finest performance to this day. He absolutely nails that role. And another movie that does something that you don't expect. I think you should watch that movie. But
don't give it away.
No. That wasn't what I was going to say. Generally speaking, not just movies of the '80s. If you present a character who is a drug dealer, he's not going to be that much of a likable guy, or even relatable. And the only thing I'll say about that is Roger Ebert, in his review of the film, he loved it. He gave it 4 stars. He said one of the wackiest things in this movie is that the drug dealer is actually maybe the most reasonable guy in the film. So it's almost prefiguring Tequila Sunrise, where you have a movie with nothing but FBI agents and CIA agents and cops and dirty cops and all this kind of stuff. And the drug dealer is the nicest guy in the film. Talk about turning something on its head. But, okay, so you never saw Less Than Zero.
No.
That's not on your list.
No.
Okay, how about this? Two questions. So my answer to this question, a movie that I did not want to see, kicking and screaming, and absolutely loved, Chariots of Fire. A movie that I was looking forward to for a year and fucking hated.
Oh.
Spike Lee's Summer of Sam. So
Sorry.
No, you can get it. It's fine. And you can all think about this. A movie that you were desperate to see. Maybe it was Twilight, whatever it was, Harry Potter, and you couldn't wait to see it. And when you watched it, you're like, oh my God, this is horrible. And you got dragged by a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a family member to see something you didn't want to see. You were resistant. You were angry that you were forced to go into the theater. And lo and behold, you loved it.
Okay. Film I got dragged to see that I had zero interest in seeing, Lord of the Rings. I didn't want to sit in the theater for 3 hours. I'd never read the books.
Okay.
I didn't care. And Mike Myers was like, ooh, I think he needed a ride. I don't know that he wanted to go with me necessarily, but he didn't drive. Then I did. So I took him and we saw it and I loved it. Movie that I was absolutely dying to see that left me pitifully disappointed. You know what I'm going to say.
I don't think so.
Dark Tower.
Oh, yes. But no, I wouldn't have immediately thought of that because of your experience with the books.
Yeah, so I'm what people would call a constant reader. I read a lot of Stephen King, and I've been to the Tower. I'm on my 4th round, and I know a lot about it, and I'm super into it. I'm a huge fan. And when they were making that movie, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. And Idris Elba as Roland of Gilead. I'm like, fuck yes, he's incredible. He's perfect. Matthew McConaughey as the Man in Black. Amazing. Great casting. I cannot tell you how disappointed I was in this film. It like broke me. I was sitting there in the theater. I went all by myself, which I hardly ever do.
Right.
And I was like, oh man. And then I'm watching the movie, and every couple of minutes I'd be like, no. What? No! Like it was painful watching that film.
Wow.
A lot of people who were into The Dark Tower pretend that it didn't happen.
Right.
So.
Well, we're gonna close this segment.
Sorry.
No. In a
Talking
minute.
Too much.
No. You're not. Nick, that wasn't what I was gonna say. Didn't want to go too long, but for what she just said is that sometimes knowing of a story will make you less likely to enjoy. And other, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, for example, I watched the Flash movie, when it came out, and I never read any of the Flash comics, never read any DC comics. I was a fan of Zack Snyder's Justice League, Ben Affleck's Batman, Henry Cavill. I watched the Flash, Michael Keaton's return as Batman, Ben Affleck as Batman, George Clooney as Batman, Ezra Miller for all of the issues. I thought the performances were on a button. He plays 3 characters in the movie. I really liked The Flash. The most clever thing that movie did, because it's set in an alternate timeline, is Ezra Miller gets into an argument with another character about the movie Back to the Future, because in this timeline, Marty McFly is played by Eric Stoltz. And maybe Doc Brown is played by Mark Mothersbaugh, which was the original idea to cast. Mark Mothersbaugh.
Of Devo.
Whip it good. So the idea is Kenny loved so many movies from 2023, from summer of 2023. He loved Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. He loved Gran Turismo. Everything. He saw so many movies, and he went multiple times. He hated The Flash. He said, I was so angry I wanted to burn down the projector. He was just foaming at the mouth. And then when I told him, hey, I'm sorry, I don't know anything about the comic. I thought the movie was good. Are you fucking kidding? But I wasn't the only one. He told me that they were friends, and somebody that had been on his podcast who was almost as big a comic book fan as he was, and he liked The Flash. So there are no guarantees. In the case of Dark Tower, I don't think you were alone. I think a lot of people who were unfamiliar with it didn't like it anyway, because it just wasn't that good.
I don't know what it would be like to watch that movie and not know anything about it, but you cannot take 7 entire books,
right,
and make it into a movie that's an hour and a half.
Right.
This is world building, epic proportions, right, multiverse, like everything. It's a Western, it's sci-fi, it's dystopian, it's adventure, it's
So it was a wrong-headed notion.
Get the fuck out of
here!
An hour and a half.
Production. But that's what I'm saying. It has to be an 8-hour miniseries or a show, a season. It has to be a show.
Yes. Like, do 7 seasons.
Right. Well.
Or a video game.
A world-building video game. Open world.
Open world, Dark Tower, Keystone Earth, Midworld. Yes. It'll never, ever happen.
But if
it does, I would.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you never know.
I would lose my job playing that game. I would not report to work anymore.
All right. Well, that's good. All right. Well, I think that we are going to bring these recordings to a close. I want to thank my sister for opening up, sharing so much of herself with all of you out there. Some serious moments, a lot of serious moments, and also a lot of lighthearted moments. You get an idea of the kinds of movies that we like, and in some cases, really don't like. But I hope you've been entertained. This has been episode 92 of the Confessions of a Not So Dangerous Mind podcast. If you've checked out, it's going to be in multiple parts. But if you've checked them out on the YouTube channel, enjoy the content, haven't done so already, click like, subscribe, comment, turn on those notifications. If you want the Beetlejuice prayer cards, come to Beetlejuice, all that.
Beetlejuice, take the wheel.
Beetlejuice, take the wheel. Stuck in the middle with you, Steelers wheel. If you've listened to these episodes on the audio platforms such as Spotify or iTunes, click like, subscribe, turn on those notifications. I'll be back with episode 93, maybe with my sister, we'll see, but real soon. And I want to thank you all once again for joining us. I hope you've had as much fun listening to this, watching this, as we had creating it, and Jessica and her friend did creating those Beetlejuice cards. On the count of 3. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
I didn't know what you were doing.
Okay.
All right.
Peace.
Bye.